You name it.
No, it's good. It's just a brilliant setting, isn't it? Perfect climate as well this evening, just to come out and enjoy some live rugby.
Just under.
This is an interesting, period of play, a period of the game really for both sides.
I think have we not had a substitution there? Murphy Walker has just sneaked on there in place of Callum Norrie, who's making his first start. So he's had half an hour. We know there was and that's the first time that they've. I'm not so sure that may be quite significant in terms of Murphy Walker just arriving.
Number 1, standing up.
Yeah. Well, it's the first time they've really
saying it's Brandon Sweet standing up. It's Brandon Sweet that was penalised for standing up, but I think he wasn't the first to come out the top of the scrum.
Do you think that would have been a tactical substitution then, Callum Norrie, after half an hour?
I assume so. I mean, you've got Murphy Walker on there with a bit of experience. Callum Norrie has done well, hasn't he, so far? There's an experienced campaigner in there, and Murphy Walker, who's got professional experience, so, and a young player himself. I think only 22 years old.
Big unit. Brave tackle by Tristan Andrews. Stirling are stepping on the gas. Had to be careful there. He didn't move too much on the ground, but Harry Mercer's been pinged for offside on Boroughmuir's defensive line, so they can work as hard as they want here because the penalty's coming anyway.
Number 10, offside.
Yeah, he's just trying to get up. He's defended really well, Harry Mercer, so far this evening.
Oh, yeah, you're good there.
He's been involved in one or two big collisions. He's managed to hold up opposite numbers, but he's just a little bit too eager there to get off the line to make an impact and just drifts offside. And now Logan Trotter decides to kick to the corner.
He's going right into the corner.
Have the line, please, Green.
5 metres, and it's clear from Stirling's previous escapades that they've been working on some moves. Certainly a few moves I didn't see last week.
Well, something up their sleeves as well, because Ross McKnight, the winger's at the front of the line, out we see. So there is something up their sleeve.
Here's the drive.
Backwards through the mark.
Holden's in there. The ball's in there somewhere.
Red to ground.
Going to ground.
Ball's available. Red to ground. No.
Russell.
Don't pull him in.
Brandon. George Brees. Crawling along the ground again.
The advantage, no release.
The penalty's coming for holding the ball in. And that was Murphy Walker that time.
There might be a warning.
Number 12, no release.
Number 12, Robbie McCallum. There makes a tackle. Doesn't release before going back in the ball. A cynical one really from Robbie McCallum. Good from his point of view, not to give a penalty away, but I think they were conceding momentum there. They were caught really quite narrow, the Boroughmuir Bears defence, so
interesting.
He knew what he was doing.
Interesting call though, going for the scrum. They had the choice.
Well,
it's with Murphy Walker arriving, you can see why they might want to do that.
I think one of the things that makes your decision here is the size of that right-hand side, that blind side for Stirling. Marcus Holden and Ross McKnight, two big players, powerful steppers that requires at least two defenders from Boroughmuir Bears to come over. So it means they can attack either side.
And they have control of the ball. Another penalty coming, and it could be more serious than that because this is Holden. Didn't quite have the impetus to get over the line. They're within 5 metres so. And again, and this time he's taking it back for the penalty. They're wearing his patience thin, Chris.
Yeah.
And for sure, if they take this down or do something, we could be looking at a card.
Well, yeah, I mean, the penalties are for different offences, but
they're all within the same zone, though.
Yeah, it's 3.
It's 2 penalties against you for that offence now, okay? Thank you very much.
2 penalties for standing up at the scrum. Those 2 are consistent. The other one was an offside, and there was one for not releasing. So, the last 4 penalties have all come against Boroughmuir Bears, 3 of them in this zone. So, they have to be on guard here, and It almost gives it a freedom to Stirling to keep playing. Again, they've got 2 players on the right-hand side, Stirling.
5 minutes left of the first half. Benedict Grant goes it alone. Again, he's held up 2-3 metres out. Another big charge, another big resurgent force in defence. Here they come again. And turned back out again, George Brees. This time they have men over and more than enough to get to the line. This time it's Ross McKnight. As you said, Chris, one of the 2 big ball carriers they could offer to finish the move, and his timing was perfect.
Yeah, it was well finished in the end. Some brave defence from Boroughmuir Bears prior to that. Josh King with an excellent tackle. There's George Brees getting hit by Duncan Munn, but then as the ball comes out, shifting the point of contact, excellent timing of the pass from Hugh McLaughlin, not to hit the short runner, but to go out the back to Ross McKnight, who attacks that space just a little bit wider, and Robbie McCallum just can't make it over. Well executed. A big, powerful strike runner like Ross McKnight close to the line is so hard to stop, but that was well done by Stirling. They drew the defence in, and then a really well timed pass from Cunningham set McKnight in for the Stirling's second try.
And he had Ben Salmon and Logan Trotter available if they were required, but they weren't. They were good, decent decoy runners. But, all a similar build, the back 3. And Holden's formidable frame in the middle, and Innes, he's not exactly a midget either. Holden gives it a hefty thump, and again he's not quite got it. I think the win might be more of a trial than we think, Chris.
Yeah.
But again, it's on his right side, so he's a good kicker. You would expect him to be not too far off the mark. So as half-time approaches, things are looking a bit better for the home team. Stirling County now 13, Boroughmuir Bears 12. Absolutely nothing in it. 2 tries apiece. Stirling will be keen to get more.
Okay, you're good now, lads.
That could be clever, might be dangerous. You could see what he tried to do to keep the ball in play and retrieve it, but maybe a wee bit too smart for his own good there, Chris.
Yeah, not really much need to do that. I think if he can get to it, he should try and keep it in hand. Obviously, I know what he's trying to do is try to keep it in play and then get back, but there was just too much pace in the ball, really. Tristan Andrews.
Here comes Stirling again. Holden moving in. He's taking the ball more as a first receiver now. Jumping into the tackle there.
Tackle now, guys, tackle now.
And again, this mob tackle from Boroughmuir Bears, tying them up. Russell. Angus Fraser.
It's through the middle and he's on the arm.
Disrupted there. Russell was caught at the edge of the back feet. And another good hand up. He's stolen it.
Advantage.
Stolen it beautifully. Now, just going to ground. Couldn't get the pass away. Adam Scott was just caught at the very last minute there. Lovely take by Josh King. Recycle. Boroughmuir Bears giving as much as they can here, but forcing that pass. Just a feeling there they just needed to be a bit more steady, a bit more patient there, and just panicking slightly.
Okay. You sure? Okay.
Frenetic finish to the first half.
That was the word, wasn't it?
Number 1, thanks for
kind of one turnover after that. This was Josh King just coming out, and Corey Tate, unfortunately, who's been really impressive in the first half, just couldn't keep a hold of the ball under a bit of pressure coming through from James Pout. But it was frantic.
I mean, if someone says he might be ahead
and frenetic. As you say, just a couple of minutes before half time.
Okay, time on.
It'll be interesting to see the
40 seconds.
The mindset here of Stirling County. They've been dominant in the scrum in the last 2 or 3 scrums. Do the scrum try and win a penalty, or do they try and attack from it?
What would you do?
Well, I would always want to try and attack from it, but I've got a funny feeling
that was a rhetorical question.
I've got a funny feeling they might look for a penalty and then put it into the corner, win some territory. Although they say that the Stirling backs have innovatively lined up. There's 2 players directly behind the scrum and 2 in behind each other in the centre field, so we might see something new.
They could load this to their left-hand side. In fact, that's what they're doing. They've got everybody now lined up to the left of the scrum. Russell can't get it. And in the end of the day, Benedict Grant had to go in and do it for him. Tidy it up, hold in. They've got runners all over the place. It didn't work, I don't think, but they still have the chance, Russell. Again, it's Angus Fraser this time. Off they go. Again, good tackling, held up. And Stirling drive it forward to get it to the ground. And then Russell gets in again. I think that's 4 times. Yep. And in fact, the referee, Ian Kenny, has decided he's seen enough. And it's, well, perfectly poised, the game. This is how it happened.
Yeah, it's another hold-up tackle, isn't it? It's a really effective tackle from Boroughmuir Bears. I see the 4th one, maybe the 3rd or 4th have been rewarded. There's been 1 or 2 more, but that'll frustrate the Stirling attack. A wonderful score by Logan Trotter, then Russ McKnight attacking space. Scott McGinley scored for the Bears, as did Corey Tate, so we're poised at half-time.
2 tries apiece. There we have it at Bridgehaugh at half-time. It's Stirling County 13, Boroughmuir Bears 12.
back to our live coverage of the FOSROC Super 6 Sprint Series. It's round 4, Stirling County against Boroughmuir Bears. It's Stirling County who lead the way 13-12. Lee Jones is still with me. It's been a pretty open first half of rugby, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's been a great half. Good for the neutral as well. It's a close score. Bit scrappy at times, but Boroughmuir have been really efficient when they've had their chances. They've taken 2 great opportunities to score, making it hard for Stirling. Have had a lot of possession, but Boroughmuir making it difficult for them. They've managed to come up with 2 scores of their own, so it's a tightly balanced game.
It is, and to be fair, whenever we were doing our opening chat to this game, we weren't necessarily expecting to see as much, perhaps. Is that fair, actually, from Boroughmuir Bear, given the fact that Stirling have come into this on back-to-back wins, and not only wins, but good performances as well? Yeah,
and on top of that, they're at home as well, looking to create an atmosphere, so potentially not expected, but at the same time, Boroughmuir have been good in parts over the last few games, and especially defending really well and making it hard for teams to attack, which is what they've done in this first half. And
Scott McGinley was there to open things and start things off for Boroughmuir Bears. We can have a look at it here.
Yeah, like I say, the 2 times they were in the 22, Boroughmuir managed to get away with the score, and they're just pounding away at the line. They're picking and going and making it hard for the Stirling defenders to recover. They have a few goes there, and then Scott McGinley's got enough power to go over. He's had a couple of really good appearances in the first few weeks, and he's been important in this first half as well.
Should he have converted it?
There's been a bit of wind out here. You've seen Marcus Holden missed his first conversion as well. Arguably he should have got it over, but thankfully they got the score a wee bit further down the line.
And Logan Trotter, we spoke about him again in our pre-match build-up. He at times, he was outstanding in this first half, wasn't he?
Yeah, and he did really well for his try. Just showed really good pace, good balance. We'll see it here. Set play from Stirling. A couple of their set plays, Boroughmuir managed to foil a couple of their set plays early on, but this one's worked perfectly. And he still had a lot to do. He almost, the set play put him through, but he's had to finish there and go outside Murray Johnson, which he's done really well.
I think effortless was the words that Hugh Dan used, and I think that's what it looks like. And it's easy for us to say standing here, but he just makes it look so easy.
Yeah, the running style, the balance, just the swerve on the outside there takes him away from Murray Johnson and manages to put him clear. So he's continuing his good run of form.
Yeah, and an immediate response then after that from Boroughmuir, because you thought to yourself, to be fair, that Stirling would then start to come back into this one and take control of it, but that's not what happened. Yeah,
look, Boroughmuir, from the possession they've had, they get back down into the 22 and a good drive and maul. Corey Tate ends up scoring here in similar fashion to his score against Heriots a few weeks ago. You can see Hamish Bain leading the way there after the line out take. And it's just power. So we've seen the drive and maul from Boroughmuir can be really effective, and if they can use that to keep themselves in the game, then it can be a good weapon.
And Ross McKnight it was who got things back to where really, I guess, Stirling County thought they should be. So he made it 13, but again, it was a pretty balanced first 40 minutes, wasn't it? Do you think it flatters Stirling County in some ways?
Yeah, I think that they did apply a fair bit of pressure towards the end of the half, and Boroughmuir gave away a string of penalties. There was 3 or 4 penalties, and they were under a bit of heat. And just Stirling with the pressure. Ewan Cunningham with a really well-timed pass there to Ross McKnight, who, as a blindside winger, is doing his role perfectly there. He's worked off his wing, he's offering himself up. And he ghosts in clear.
What have we learned, do you think, in this first half about both of these sides? Are you surprised by I guess let's start with Boroughmuir actually. Are you surprised by their tenacity that they've shown in this first half?
I think they've just managed to really apply it really well. We've seen it in glimpses over the last few weeks.
But that's all it's been though at times, isn't it? It's lacking that consistency, and to be fair, that was an issue that went back to last season as well, that level of consistency, not being able to just keep that going.
Definitely, and what they've done is they've made it difficult for Stirling. But then when they've had their opportunities, they've taken them. Had they not taken those opportunities, similar to last week, they'd have been struggling, but being able to put points on the board when they get those opportunities is massive, because it makes the game, obviously it's close at half time, and they'll be looking for more of the same in the second half.
They're like the proverbial Jack Russell, aren't they? You just can't sort of get rid of them for a little bit. They're always there. Right, okay, what about Stirling then? What have you been impressed by? I mean, Logan Trotter, of course, we spoke about before the start of the game, but what else have you learned about Stirling that we didn't know?
I think they've applied pressure well, especially towards the end of that half, and that's what they really just forced Boroughmuir to start creaking and giving away penalties, and that's when they hold on to possession. So Boroughmuir making it scrappy at the breakdown. Early on, Stirling struggled to hold on to the ball, so they'll be looking to keep the ball for phases. Connor Gordon was good in the first half. He had a couple of good breaks early on. The back row's been strong. So yeah, they'll be looking to hold on to the ball in the second half, put Boroughmuir under a bit more pressure, but likewise Boroughmuir will be trying to do the same. Okay,
it is Stirling County who lead this one 13-12. We'll be back for the second half after this short break.
The lights are on at Bridgehaugh. The match is perfectly poised. As you can see, Stirling County 13, Boroughmuir 12, 2 tries apiece. Chris Paterson, really tight contest. Good defence from Boroughmuir Bears. They have a 100% attacking record in the red zone, twice up the Stirling defence, and twice they scored. Stirling have been the more inventive, perhaps, of the two sides, but they've hit a brick wall.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with Boroughmuir Bears' defence. As you say, it's had to be good because Stirling have had most of the territory, most of the possession. As they just fall under that brilliant backdrop, isn't it? And nice does that look for us sitting here? But Stirling, I think we'd frustrated that it maybe didn't kick as often as they could have against a really strong Bears defence. Bears will want to hold on to possession longer, conversely. When they've had it, they've turned it over probably too quickly, other than the 2 tries they scored. McGinley close range, and then Corey Tate from the drive. And we see already as the teams take the field, already see a change. It looks like, is it Finlay Burgess on scrum half for for Stirling County. That's the only change other than the couple of injury ones in the first half. So Burgess will bring up a tempo at that number 9 position. But I think Boroughmuir Bears will be looking to keep hold of the ball, apply more pressure, whereas I think Stirling will want to be more accurate. Still discussions going on with Ian Kenny and Marcus Holden.
And we did see, interestingly, Graham Shield, the Boroughmuir Bears coach, spent some time with Ian Kenny, the referee, before they went up the tunnel.
Yeah.
Now, I wonder what that was all about.
I'll just be looking for clarification on one or two things. It's a difficult job, isn't it, to referee? And it's I like the fact that there's that open chain of communication between, you know, the teams and the officials. It's certainly not an easy job, but as we get to round 4, really, the tension rises up. Every decision will be scrutinised.
Harry Mercer, Boroughmuir Bears in green and blue, gets the game underway. Second half, 2 tries apiece, as we said, 13 points to 12. The home team leads. And all to play for. Stirling could go top if they win tonight. There's the first penalty.
It's Josh King again, starting with the left off. Dominant defensively, excellent technique here. There's an initial contact, and then he has the release before he goes back to the ball. There's the release, and then right back onto the ball. Well done on the blind side.
Timing was excellent there, and that gives Boroughmuir Bears a chance to improve on their 100% record if they can possibly do that.
Well, it's a similar position, isn't it?
It's always the same, down the right-hand side.
The line-out strikes have been excellent in that opposition territory so far. There's Hamish Bain, he might be the target, and the headband on. He took the last one that led to the try. Corey Tate was accurate with the throw.
They've stacked the midfield. First part of it's done successfully. Off they go. Corey Tate, the recipient at the back, and again it's this crawling to the left has worked.
One stop.
Previously they've stopped. Ian Kenny has told them to use it. There's all sorts of stuff going on off the ball, and the action carries on 5 metres out.
Okay, 2 stops now, come on.
Still they go. Still Stirling tried desperately to keep them out. It's not going to work. Oh, because they're down, they're in, and it's worked. And it's Corey Tate again. It's the Hookers Union. Second try to Tate, third try to the Boroughmuir Bears. It's 13-17.
We said it, didn't it? A really good defence of Josh King to win the penalty, and then it's the same again. It's that dominant drive from the Boroughmuir Bears. Really well controlled. There's 1 or 2 really excellent pieces of play here, because Boroughmuir are told initially that's one stop. Now if it stops again and the ball isn't able to play, it's turned over. So it's almost a calculated risk to keep the ball in there, and as soon as you take that decision you have to score, because if not you're turning it over. But the body positions are excellent. The ball's always under control by Corey Tate, and he gets the reward.
They just backed themselves. Simple. They really knew what they were doing. So chance for 2 more from Adam Scott. Not quite directly in front of the posts. Easy chip over for 2 points more. So, a couple of minutes into the second period, Stirling County 13, Boroughmuir Bears 19.
That's exactly it. Started to watch that second half, obviously lost the lead just before half time to get it back. As soon as that in the second half, it's good play by the wayside.
And the Boroughmuir coaches to our right are standing up all of a sudden.
Always inside, guys, always inside. Touch.
No, that's touched. That's good pressure by Stirling County there. And there's that confirmation of that change they've made. Finlay Burgess coming on for Harry Russell. If I remember rightly, they hooked Harry Russell fairly early in the game down at Melrose last weekend. So maybe part of the rotation and the game plan. There's the score and the bright lights and the evening shadows beginning to stretch now here at Bridgehaugh. This iconic setting.
In 5.
Again, Boroughmuir set themselves out. Murray Johnson dispatches it.
It's a good kick, that.
Yep. Ball's live, Ollie.
Good.
Their execution's excellent tonight.
It is. It was a bit wobbly at the very start. A couple of lines that kind of went one way or the other. But I tell you what, attacking wise and defensively, some really good outcomes from the line-out for Boroughmuir.
Boroughmuir Bears now with 3 tries in their pocket. That certainly didn't look straight.
Outside hand, that one, guys. Option. Option, scrummer line.
Maybe wouldn't have put an awful lot of money on it, Chris, at the start of the game to say that this far into the second period that Boroughmuir Bears would be looking at a bonus point, a bonus try.
Well, I mean, it's the games are so tight and so tightly contested. Last week, I think, was a bit of an anomaly for Boroughmuir. They were 0-0 at home, and it was 2 early tries against them, and then a late penalty, 15-0, and it wasn't really a true reflection of how they played certainly last season and how they've started this season. This is a much truer reflection. Defence have been strong and they've been accurate.
Scrappy line out though.
No.
Straight through. Well, I did think it was straight through the middle, but not quite, obviously.
The ball wasn't lifted.
Well, you can't play the 9.
Yeah.
Scrum
Number
half.
4. Sorry for getting in your way there.
They get protected in there, the little scrum halves, don't they? It's a good tackle again for Harry Mercer. And this is where actually Tristan Andrews, he would have been able to pick that up initially, but he didn't. He got hang over the ball.
He got well cleared.
And that ball's not in play until Finlay Burgess lifts it off the ground. Even though his hands are on it, he has to lift it up before he can be tackled.
And Logan Trotter didn't give that anything extra. It was very precisely guided and tracked into the corner. So let's see what the Boroughmuir Bears defence is made of. That was the Stirling County bench to our left in the back of the stand. Looking slightly apprehensive at the moment. Let's see what they have on offer here.
Get out, 5, get out.
Not making any forward progress really.
Penalty advantage.
Penalty advantage coming.
Number 1, side.
That's a frustrating penalty for Boroughmuir to give away. Hamish Bain does a really good job initially to get round and then gets told to get out, so he does, but then
Brandon
Sweet comes in from the side there. The ball's still clearly under control. Angus Fraser in the maul.
You should just change your mind at that stage for me.
He needed to Kakani there, just.
Yeah, well, and Boroughmuir were driving Stirling towards the touchline. There was no need to be rash, but Stirling get the opportunity.
Here comes Stirling. Here comes Stirling. Looking for Angus Fraser. Again, they've been repelled, but they've broken away and spilled it. Spilled again.
Just on the edge, just when it came in.
Well, this is verging on heroic defence, really, because it's the story of the evening, isn't it?
Absolutely. That is it. This time, well claimed by Hamish Ferguson, and although it's moving, it's not really under control, and Angus Fraser takes the decision to come off the back of the maul himself. He spins round, and then it's Harry Mercer again with the tackle that dislodges the ball. He needs to take his support with him. Angus Fraser can understand why he went early, because the maul was disrupted, and that's credit to the Boroughmuir Bears defence again.
A job to do here.
Set!
They need their back row to be tight. It's almost spun end over end, and the back row does its business. And driving forward.
No, he's all right,
Trying to engineer a clearer kick for Murray Johnson.
Use it, 9.
He's been told to use it. This time he gets it away. Not quite over Trotter. Oh, and he's fallen. He's lost the ball, but it did go backwards. And they need to put him down on the first attempt. There's no way they need to back off. That was an extraordinary passage of play where he slipped. Maybe the evening dew coming onto the pitch just as the sun has gone. Stirling just being a bit careless with the ball at the moment. That's high, I think. The referee doesn't want to intervene at this stage. More length in the ball to Holden. Slightly had to readjust his line. Trotter taking more of an active interest. Again, Boroughmuir Bears just stringing themselves out. Only committing 2 to the tackle. tackle again. Recycled. Turn inside. Even Stewart held up. Tries to get it back. Here they come this time, and again the pass is forced. It's really untidy at points by Stirling. There are 2 players down injured in midfield, one from each side.
It's more heroic defence for Boroughmuir Bears, isn't it?
And they've stolen it. They've turned it over again. Oh, and they just forced it.
Knock on, guys.
Well, it's stirring stuff.
It's the same story, isn't it? You've mentioned it once or twice. It's heroic defence, forcing Stirling to kind of attack as individuals more as a cohesive attack. And that was the end of it for Scott McGinley in again, and frustration for Boroughmuir here is that they don't make the most of that turnover. Adam Scott can't quite take the ball, but Stirling threw an awful lot at the Bears there, and the Bears just marched forward defensively. I thought Boroughmuir Bears were lucky not to concede a penalty in the scrum right on their own line. It looked as if Brandon Sweet was under a bit of pressure, but the kick, the chase, and other than Logan Trotter making 15 or 20 yards with an individual effort, Stirling are struggling to break down the Boroughmuir Bears defence.
Yeah, if anything, inclined to maybe over-elaborate, and they're just finding this green and blue wall strung out in front of them.
Well, we said at half-time, we said it the first half as well. If you have a kicking game that is attack-minded and you're kicking to regain or you're kicking for someone in your own team, then that short attack and kicking game can really counteract the excellent Boroughmuir Bears defence. So when you talk about a kicking game, it doesn't always mean getting rid of the ball or kicking long. I think Stirling should look to try and change the picture by finding a bit of space just over that front line, making the Bears defence turn and trying to get the opportunity to get that back, and then you're attacking a much more fractured defensive line.
The weekend starts here. It's well underway at Bridgehaugh. Decent crowd, good sprinkling in the open. The stand is a good gathering of folk. There's an open air bar. The hamburgers are taking a hammering.
It was a knock on, never went into touch. I'm just waiting for this chapter.
There's the occasional beer. Some tactical discussions.
Take your time, make sure you're right.
And there's Doug's. There's always Doug's.
Happy?
What
Okay.
concentration.
Guys, we're going to start with the scrum Stirling ball from the knock on, okay?
It's a decent break and play, that. Little one or two players getting patched up again. But, you know, it's in a quick start the second half for Boroughmuir Bears, coming out and scoring. Was it 42 minutes?
Yep.
Try, or just in the second minute of the second half to retake the lead. Since then, it's been that same old story of Stirling having all the possession and Boroughmuir Bears holding out defensively.
Crouch!
Still a long way to go.
Bind!
Plenty to come from both teams.
Set!
And certainly plenty firepower in the Stirling back line if they can get the ball more quickly.
Penalty advantage, one collapse.
Penalty coming. They have a free shot at this. There's Trotter bursting in again, and again it's stolen.
The penalty, number one collapse.
How many times have they stolen it?
They really are targeting the ball and the tackle, aren't
Have a word on
they? When this isn't a penalty advantage, it's Brandon Sweet that's penalised collapse, and as I say, I thought he got a wee bit lucky the last time, but Ross McKnight going through and just that time it's Manny Johnson just targeting the ball and stripping it, and the penalty advantage will come back for the penalty to Stirling County. But whether it's the strip there or the hold-up tackle that Boroughmuir Bears had good success from, it's a tactic that they're certainly targeting the ball.
Okay, we can't have any more against this gentleman.
That's four. That's the referee in Kenny saying there's 4 penalties at scrum time against.
He's beginning to get impatient, I think. There's a neat wee header down in the corner there from a young fella, so from Logan Trotter. I don't know how he managed it, but he headed the ball back into play. Fair play to him. Stirling have it. Variation in the planning this time. Benedict Grant goes in the tight side. The door was firmly slammed in his fingers. Murphy Walker certainly made an impression. beginning to carry the ball as well. This time they're stretching the Boroughmuir Bears defence. Here's Trotter. Can he go all the way on his own? Feeds it back inside.
Tackle roll!
And back under the cosh again. Here he comes, Grant. Quicker ball, but this time Murphy Walker
you're off
set
first man.
back on his heels.
He's trapped and the ball's available.
And they come, George Breeze.
Off feet 8.
Moving it quicker, the short passes this time. They go left again. We juggle from James Pow. Stretching the defence again. They've got men over on the touchline, but again, look at that. Look at the
Tackle,
work rate.
Down. Nose tackle.
Have another go. Just having to step back there, Scott McGinley. Closer again, ever closer by Benedict Grant. This time he's on his own and over he goes. It's number 4, James Pow. Has blasted over under the post, and that was coming, Chris.
Yeah, it was more just deep possession in the Boroughmuir Bears 22, wasn't it? Real respect to the ball carrier. Logan Trotter again, impressive, 1 or 2 occasions. Pow carrying really hard. There was a lovely set of hands from Benedict Grant once or twice. It got the ball a bit quicker. There, the ball actually comes out really quickly. It hits a foot. Some thought maybe it was a knock-on, but it came off a foot, so the ball's still live. Pow was first to react and drives and gets in under the posts. But it just came from phase after phase of attack from Stirling. That was the one from Benedict Grant. Maybe it looks there if it did go forward, but Ian Kenny said it hit a foot.
That was just a fraction more and it would have cost them. But there's a chance for 2 more points. I see Boroughmuir Bears are making some substitutions. I'll keep my eye on the kick. If you can keep a tally on all these comings and goings down below us. The kick is successful.
8 Boroughmuir. 8 Boroughmuir.
So he couldn't really have had an easier option. So that's moved the score now to 19-20. 19, sorry, Stirling County 20, Boroughmuir Bears 19.
Yeah, there's 1 or 2 knocks and bumps after that long phase of play. DJ Ennis is getting patched up in the midfield for Stirling. There's already a change, I think. Brandon Sweet's been replaced.
14
I think Chris Anderson. I think Tristan Andrews has gone off. McCube comes on.
McCube has come on at number 20.
And there's a change for Stirling as well.
23 for Stirling. Gray. Mike Gray has come on.
For Ross McKnight.
Ross McKnight.
Time on.
Well, that's maybe a surprise because McKnight was definitely a potent threat, as has this fella become in the second half. Benedict Grant, his ball carrying has been immense. Going for distance now, Ewan Cunningham. Decent take on the far side from us. Can they work their way back into the game again? Murray Johnson. Busy. Then left-footed Harry Mercer gives them ground, but Trotter's perfectly capable and willing. Plays it inside. Could have done better with that because he's allowed Boroughmuir Bears to come back at him. Tom Brown sends a long spin pass. They've made it over halfway again. Trotter's carrying an injury now, I think, Chris. He didn't quite kick that. Maybe it was in the act of kicking that, but he seems to have pulled something, I think.
Tackle.
Tackle.
A space for Boroughmuir Bears to attack.
Oh, and again, the pass was ever so slightly behind him and he was reaching out all the time. So have a look at Trotter. He's just below us here in front of the stand. His left leg is giving him some bother.
Yeah, he covered the ground well. It was a good kick actually from Harry Mercer initially. He covered the ground well. This is just where it breaks down. The pass is just behind Harry Mercer. He comes through Ewan Stewart with the pass.
They had good numbers there as well.
Yeah, Stirling has gotten really narrow. and there's almost no one really defensively left for Stirling. If Boroughmuir Bears could have kept that ball in hand, that's Logan Trotter there. He looks as if he's moving a little bit better.
I don't think so.
Or is it just because he's standing still?
Set!
He's certainly holding his leg.
Yeah. Seems to be from the left knee down, and that's a penalty to Stirling. They're beginning to get the upper hand in the tight game.
Well, that's the area where they've had dominance really at scrum time, isn't it? Still in every other area has been really closely contested, but there you can see the elbow. Is it Chris Anderson's elbow hitting the ground first? And that's what Brandon Sweet was penalised for prior to that. So it's a consistent penalty, and Holden's found a good touch.
Your diagnosis of Trotter hasn't been too good. It's his ankle, obviously.
That's it. Quite often see the over the boot strapping. It's not. It very rarely works, I find.
It's psychological.
He's been outstanding though, hasn't he? That try in his first half. I mean, we spoke about him before the game and his form coming into this game, but that try in the first half where he just kind of slid into space and just opened up the legs to get through, but he's carried really well at important moments as well for Stirling County. He's not moving particularly well, but
yeah, I have to say I'm not convinced. If he was under pressure having to twist and turn, he might regret that. But there you go, they feel it's important to keep him on. Referee wants the water off.
Just wants to keep the game moving. Which I like.
He's done that. He's done that. He's been very good. Communication with the players has been excellent.
I think there's a mass involvement of water cars at times where it doesn't have to be.
They're like midges.
Bring him in.
They swarm all over, and you know, as soon as the game stops, it's like there's a Pavlov's dog reaction. Off they go.
Good contest there, guys.
Wee bit of classic psychology there.
I understood it. You maybe need to explain.
Forget it.
The ringing of the bell and the salvation.
Yeah, all that stuff. Here comes Stirling. Holden was waiting, and again, they have a tendency, I've said over elaborate, but just force it.
Well, it is. It's not. It's funny because I don't believe it's over elaborate. It's just inaccurate. I mean, there was that one there, and there was one with Ross McKnight off the back of the line in the first half. There was one from a set piece move. I mean, he's probably twisted too far.
Finlay Burgess, back there. You know.
Probably is that one. Maybe is it. I don't think
that's execution.
I don't think the play is elaborate. It's just the execution is right, and that's first phase. It's just after winning a penalty from your scrum that's been dominant. A good, win of possession at the line out, and then you're not allowing yourself to force any pressure on the Bears because you've turned the ball over so quickly.
There's a lot of conflabbing going on to our left and our right between the respective coaches. It's a pivotal moment. We're on the hour mark here. It's a 1 point game, 3 tries apiece. It couldn't be better. Looking forward, and Stirling, as I said earlier, could go top, albeit overnight. They could get to the top with victory here.
Well, you make me feel old. Time on, guys.
All round Bridgehaugh, there are kids playing rugby on the side pitches, and it's a fantastic sight altogether.
Crouch! Bind! Set!
And Stirling have a great nudge on here, huge nudge. And off they go, Benedict Grant. He's rumbling around. He's having a good second half. The field's opening up for them now. They've got a load of people on the right-hand side. And again, the fumbling. Marcus Holden trying to get it to, I think it was Trotter.
Yeah, again, they just have to keep possession. But a dominant scrum from Stirling again. Not only did that cause disruption, actually drove right over the top of the ball. St Angus Fraser coming around the corner, making 1 or 2 yards. And after 2 phases this time, the pass comes out to Holden, who just forces that offload off the deck. I mean, you could see Logan Trotter, you could see that the pass was on, but his hands were never in a position where he could accurately deliver that pass. He tried to force it with one hand, the offload. The upside for Stirling is they can afford to do that there because they've got such a dominant scrum, and I assume they'll then attack this Boroughmuir Bears scrum again.
Bind!
And every dominant scrum is followed by a more dominant next one. Here they go. They certainly have the upper hand now, but Boroughmuir have done well, but they've spilled it badly, because the field has opened up for Stirling. And it just, then Salmon.
Legal.
They've stolen it, but they've retrieved it with a penalty.
Well, Duncan Munn has a brilliant piece of skill, but he shouldn't even be allowed to get there, because Stirling make the turnover in the midfield. I think was it McCallum that gets turned over in the midfield. Salmon almost gets there. He's the turnover. Roy McCallum ball pops out of his grasp. DJ Ennis sets Salmon free, who almost gets there. And from here, there's nobody really on the left other than Duncan Munn, and it just has to be a simple pass. But Duncan Munn reads it really well under the pressure of Mikey Gray, but then it's penalised for holding on.
But that's always the danger with that loop pass, isn't it? Because it spends so much time in the air, it gives the defender time to take a percentage shot at it.
And it's a good read, and it's well done by Duncan Munn, but he shouldn't really be given that opportunity, because there was two players on it, shorter than that.
Move it through the hands.
Yeah.
Here's the cavalry coming. Number 19 for Boroughmuir Bears is Jack Fisher. And then we've got number 16, who is Ian Carmichael, replacement hooker.
9, 5,
I wonder what will happen here from this penalty decision if Stirling opt to take the scrum.
And if you can see the third player, because they've made 3 substitutions, Chris.
For the Bears, I think it's maybe Brodie Young, is it?
Yeah, if that is Brodie Young, who's making his debut, the Watsonian, I think. Must be, yeah.
Yeah, they have gone for the scrum.
Dare I say it, he looks completely out of place in amongst all these big guys. He's giving away a lot of height and weight.
Crouch!
Well, Hamish Bain and Scott McGinley are being a deserved rest. They've both been outstanding for Boroughmuir so far.
Stirling with another shove, another massive shove. Ian Kennedy's having a very, very close look at this. The penalty's coming. And they've made a mess of it, but they have it. In fact, Benedict Grant has been given the score. And that's the bonus point secure, if nothing else. Try number 4 to Stirling County. And again, it's that dominant scrum. Boroughmuir Bears now have no answer.
Yeah, it was good leadership, wasn't it, to opt for the scrum from the penalty and then follow through with that drive. We're playing a penalty advantage. I actually thought at some point maybe the referee would give a penalty try, but as it stands, the ball pops out under the domination, and Benedict Grant's first to react. As the ball crosses the line, he gets his left hand to it.
Not after the face
a penalty try would have made the... Well, obviously you don't have to take the conversion, it's 7-point guaranteed. But there the ball pops out and then reacts quickest and gets it. Grant.
I think the referee had just anticipated that was coming, so he just let it roll. Although they did.
Oh.
Well, I might
closer, closer than it looked from here.
Where's VAR when you need it?
Brodie Young almost. Like you say, we'll maybe have another look at that.
And here's the attempted conversion has drifted left. So that hasn't quite worked, but we might be able to have a closer and slower look at that, Chris. It'll be interesting to have your view on this.
Well, the scrum's moving forward at such a speed. I think actually Brodie Young maybe gets there first. I mean, he would come back for a scrum, the penalty anyway.
Yeah.
But and we don't have the television match official, so
it's done.
It's very difficult, very close.
64 minutes almost on the clock. Stirling County 25, Boroughmuir Bears 19, and the bonus point secure for Stirling County. And that will inevitably, it's hard to say that Ben Cairns ever looks ecstatic, but certainly he'll be more comfortable that they've got their noses in front. 6-point advantage now. It's all taken by Tom Brown. So Burgess.
Not held.
Let's see what they have in them. Now trying to stretch them. That was taken back. That was fine. And now there's one of the Stirling County players has gone down with cramp, I think.
It's Angus Fraser, who was struggling to get back into play just prior to that. He had to jump up and then get back involved in the clear out.
There's another player in midfield as well.
It's just such a... And here come the water carriers. Here's the midges
there
on.
They go, look.
Which is fine from if there's an injury stoppage, it's Murphy Walker getting treated as well. So it's 2 front row players as well, and it looks like Angus Fraser's going to have to come off.
Yeah, I think his night is done, and number 18 being patched up as well is Murphy Walker.
Yeah, it's Angus Fraser there, just with Davy Pugh, the dock.
See, I know we were talking to some of the guys before the game, Chris, and they were all saying, you know, how this is preparation in the sprint series for the main competition, if you want to call it that, and that the injuries are mounting up, and you know, an injury is also an opportunity for someone else, but it is stretching their resources.
It is, but
massively.
it's also giving people the opportunity to play, as you say, and some of the injuries will be a result of having not played a lot of rugby and then playing really intense rugby 4 weeks.
And it has been tonight has been really intense.
And then next week's a scheduled down week. There's no fixture before next, and that's probably coming at the right time for especially for players who haven't played a lot.
Yeah, a 7-day turnaround is quite demanding at this level.
Okay, it's 4-2.
A lot of these guys, a couple tonight who haven't played in the first 3 matches, who are probably blowing by now, but
One stop. Yeah, it's outside now.
they've only got a quarter of an hour to go. It's still there for Boroughmuir if they can stay up this end of the pitch, but good break by Burgess, and again it's spilled. Referees onto it straight away. And the gathering.
Yeah, Brodie Young did well to read that. I actually thought it was initially quite good play up the short side. Have another look here. Finlay Burgess should actually dummy and go. Him and Mikey Gray try to exploit that space up that short side. But again, it's ball turned over quite quickly in the phase. And you know, for Boroughmuir Bears, the kind of leadership team and the senior players in around here should be saying, listen, we're up against it at scrum time. Let's get our processes right so we can get this ball in and out as quick as possible and launch an attack.
All the Boroughmuir Bears coaches, as I said earlier, now standing, shoving every scrum if they can.
Set!
Yeah, you want this ball in and away pretty quickly before that secondary shove comes on. That's better.
Good loop in midfield, decent pass, another long pass. Tom Brown cuts inside, but again 1 or 2 of the players slipping. Glenn Falls there. Mercer becoming influential again, beginning to wind the passes. That's a lovely interchange in the wing.
You happy with that, Alia?
Good spell of possession this for the Bears. Burgess digging deep. Big shout for offside beside me here. And Kube.
Penalty advantage, number 7 offside.
There is a penalty coming for the Bears. They can have a shot at it though. Oof. Benedict Grant wraps his arms round him. Duncan Mann, they moved it again, they're out. But chip over and a tackle. Oh, and the bounce, Tom Brown! Tom Brown takes advantage of the bounce and the touch and over the top. Well, that was opportunism.
It was well created though. He certainly got luck at the bounce. Tom Brown was down with cramp about 2 minutes ago, and he pops up and gets his reward. But there was a series of really good carries. A series of really good carries. Again, that man Corey Tate carrying really hard into the tackle from Grant. Robbie McCallum making a bit of inroads in behind, and then as the ball comes, but that allowed Boroughmuir Bears to get on the front foot. Brodie Young's looked sharp at 9 since he came in. And then here's Robbie McCallum making a few more yards. There's the quick ball there. That's the carry we spoke about from Corey Tate. It's all energy sapping for the defence, and then as the ball comes out, as Glenn Falls with a chip over and a wicked bounce back over the head of Cunningham. Well finished by Tom Brown.
That's experience. You always follow it. You always chase it.
And that's a fourth try for the Bears.
Fourth try, 4 tries apiece, 25-24. Big kick to come for Adam Scott for Boroughmuir Bears, who have brought Liam McConnell on at number 22. While we were watching Tom Brown getting his cramp dealt with. Let's see what Adam Scott can make of this. Because he has put the Boroughmuir Bears back in the lead in an extraordinary exchange of tries.
11 minutes.
With just over 10 minutes left to play. Stirling County are 1 point in arrears all of a sudden again. It's Stirling County 25, Boroughmuir Bears 26.
Well, the lead's changed hands so many times, hasn't it? And you get the feeling there's more to come in this game. Good high kick-off hanging from Hugh. I think Josh King wins it back at the second attempt.
The Bears are not done. Magnificent blue sky is the backdrop. Wallace Monument one end, the castle the other end. Trotter goes tumbling. And off he goes, a handoff. 2 handoffs and a pass. Stirling being roared on now by the home crowd. They could be so influential, but there's quite a number here in support of the Bears tonight, because that last try was well received. Every tackle now receiving a huge roar of approval, because this is where it counts. This is where all the training and all the preparation, but then the willpower. Who wants it most? Who wants it most? There's carnage in midfield. 2 Stirling players down. And Bears again have turned it over. Well, Chris, there's 10 minutes to go. I don't envy you, and I'm just asking you to think about it, but you're going to have one heck of a job getting the FOSROC Player of the Match for this Super Series, Sprint Series game.
Thanks for the warning. I've been thinking about it actually all the way through, and it's one or two candidates. I mean, really, 1 or 2 really dominant players in there, and again, this game follows a similar trend, isn't it? It's the aggressive defence.
Oh, look at that.
Boroughmuir Bears, and well, it's not a bad picture, is it?
Absolutely stunning.
I don't think he had the advantage there, because they regathered.
My short drive home is going to be a pleasure tonight.
19, he picked it up and put his foot.
I could walk, could have taken the bike. But these guys are feeling this now, Chris.
It's a long second half, isn't it? It's a long second half of stoppages and injuries, and there's cramp out there. And you're right, I mean, this becomes an attitudinal thing.
And the ground is so firm.
Yeah.
There's no give in the ground. I know it's been kind of damp and wet in this area in the last couple of days, but it's not been enough to soak the ground.
No, you can see that. Even certainly dust flying up once or twice, so the ball's hit the deck, or the players have changed direction.
I think Ian Kenny's doing a head count at the moment, just to see how many he's got left.
I think the 2 players, I think George Breeze has been forced to come off now as well, the loose head for.
Well, they might have to change
Stirling.
their scrum here.
Might need 1 or 2 of these ball boys in shortly. There we go. They get warmed up in case they're needed.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. They've got all the gear.
Yeah, they're getting warmed up.
Time back on, guys.
George Breeze just limping off there.
Yeah.
James Powell's going to continue. He was the other one that was getting a bit of treatment.
Yeah, number 17, John McKenna, confirmed there as the replacement in the front row.
Set!
Here come the Boroughmuir Bears, though, man in midfield. They've stretched them. There's an extra man on the far side at pace. The lights have gone out in the stand.
Steel's good. No 16,
Adam Scott took it to ground. The lights have come back on in the stand. It's like a disco here at the moment. It's a good clearance. They had to get that away because Adam Scott is a definite threat on that left wing.
Yeah, did well to turn it over, Stirling, because it was a nice attack for Boroughmuir Bears. Glenn Fall building a bit of pace from the wrong side, the right-hand wing on the left-hand side, setting his fellow winger Adam Scott away, and I'm not sure how Stirling won the ball in there, but they did manage to turn it over. The kick only gets up over the 22, so Boroughmuir Bears will have another chance to attack.
And just a problem for Stirling County in midfield there. DJ Innes. A point in it, 8 minutes left.
Forward through the mark.
And yes, now we could talk about a turn up for the books if this goes the way it looks it might go, unless Stirling have the answer. Another line break. Stirling struggling to regroup in defence. Back it comes through Burgess. Almost, that looked high, but Burgess again. Their impact players are making a difference now. Lewis Skinner of Stirling's having to graft hard to Ngube, turning, twisting. Good possession, they're being patient, the Bears. Some frustration from Burgess.
Again, you've sealed the man in.
You know, a penalty here would be a massive outcome, wouldn't it, Chris? Right in front of the posts.
Yeah, Boroughmuir Bears doing well to hold on to possession, because it's this time it's Stirling County's defence who's having to work really hard. It's an excellent tackle on the secondary effort. The ball from...
I think they might have turned it though. Stirling have it, have they? No, they haven't. They haven't. Burgess has done it again. More progress from the Boroughmuir Bears. They've been rejoined by Ewan Cunningham was getting some treatment, but he's back. He's back with them now in the three-quarter line. So they were actually effectively playing a man down there. And Ngube again, he's become the go-to man all of a sudden. Cunningham takes it on himself. Oh, there was a hand out there and a penalty. I think the penalty's coming. The referee's arm went up and he brought it back, actually. He might just be playing the advantage, but that was forward. So he's come back for the penalty, Chris.
Yeah, it's a penalty.
Pressure.
There's a one-handed attempt at the ball. What's Ian Kenny? What's he saying to it?
We've got 5 minutes to play, guys.
5 minutes, just asking a time. I thought he was going to explain the decision. Boroughmuir Bears did really well to hold on to possession. And it was actually Harry Mercer who showed and went through the space. He tried to get that offload away, and there was one hand got to the ball from the Stirling defender.
Okay, time back on, guys. Penalty from the slap down.
So the penalty for the slap down, no more. Does this surprise you, Chris? This looks like a gift of 3 points.
I'm surprised they're not going to attempt to kick a goal. I mean, the one thing is that there's still
5
quite a lot
minutes,
of time left in the clock, and if you set up camp down here, then you set up, you know, an opportunity to eat more clock. I think we're still waiting on the decision. He is going to go to the corner, so now it becomes an idea of your accuracy at that line out, which has been excellent. And don't forget, it's been the bedrock of a couple of tries as well so far.
I got you.
So yeah, it's a good kick as well from Mercer.
He's got it the front, I've got it the back, right? Okay.
It's close enough to the Stirling line to threaten the drive that's been really successful so far.
Would you back them? Come on.
I'll tell you in a minute. Well, it's a good throw and it's a good drive again.
They've done it.
One stop.
They've stopped once and they're going again. They've shattered them again. They've got the ball. They're held up by Stirling. Held up by Stirling.
They just got rolled onto his back that time. Corey Tate, I think it was his opposite number, Angus Fraser, managed just to roll him.
Boroughmuir Bears have to be alert here because they were held up, the ball has to be delivered from the goal line. Time off.
Boot that ball off the pitch, would you?
And there's a spare ball in midfield all of a sudden, but we'll get rid of that.
Coming in, this is the effort that was just
This is
held up short as Corey Tate again with the ball, and as he spins round, Angus Fraser just gets underneath in there, but we're back in play. The goal line dropouts happened, and Adam Scott takes it to the Stirling defence.
He just got himself flat under him. Here they come again, and Kube crashing through the middle. Again, making the hard yards. Here's Cunningham. Tom Brown's running in front. He has to be careful. In fact, he's been caught. He's been caught. He just overran that one.
Yeah, he got a little bit flat. I'm not sure if Robbie McCallum actually was obstructed. The tackle was made on Robbie McCallum. Yeah, Tom Brown maybe interfered a little bit.
He just ran in front of him, so... Well, there's our man of the match. Our FOSROC Super 6 player of the match is number 2 for Boroughmuir Bears, Corey Tate.
Yeah, he's been
the 2-try hooker. Good choice, Chris.
Outstanding. 2 tries are only the cherry on top of the cake. He's defensively been outstanding in a game that looks like it's going to be, you know, result of a defensive effort. He's been at the forefront, and here he is again carrying an outstanding from the young hooker.
Huge overthrow there. Hugely important because it's given Boroughmuir Bears another chance. Duncan Munn turns, spins, in he goes. What they need to do now is have one eye on the clock. They've got 3 minutes, 2.5 to negotiate. Out to the left, they've got an extra man. Oh, and that's forward again. Adam Scott. He's just about made it. They've just sold him that final pass.
The attack's much better, isn't it? It's in half holding possession for Boroughmuir Bears. Robbie McCallum always causes a bit of damage when he has the ball, but that ball just drifts forward to Adam Scott. Duncan Munn that time had a step inside. I must say Logan Trotter was outstanding again for Stirling County. I thought Conor Gordon started particularly strongly as well, and Josh King in the back row for Boroughmuir Bears. So there's been a few.
You know what's in a way it's surprising to me, Chris, that the Boroughmuir Bears are finishing the stronger team here.
Well, they've had to do a lot of defending, haven't they?
Yeah, that's exactly the point.
It saps up the energy, but you can see just the momentum that changes. It's been a cracking game, and it's still in the balance. So the last couple of minutes to go, Stirling feeding the scrum. Yeah, they're deep in their own half, but can they conjure something up?
Penalty advantage.
The penalty coming to Stirling though, and Boroughmuir Bears have taken Adam Scott off. So Stirling still have it.
Backwards.
DJ runs, turns, goes to ground. Here they come. Trotter. Danger for the Bears. Thrown to the ground. They're struggling to get back, Boroughmuir Bears. Entering the final minute of regular time. Trotter.
It's advantage over, guys.
Here they come, Stirling. The advantage is over. Holden in midfield, stretching the whole width of the field. Have they got something left? Oh, thumping tackle. 30 seconds and a penalty to the Boroughmuir Bears. And the stand below us here erupts.
Well,
and it's Tristan Andrews.
It's Josh King, I think, that comes up with a tackle, with a steal, but it's Mikey Gray was almost away for Stirling. DJ Ennis sets him away as the first step and a second step, and a tackle eventually comes in. It's Tom Brown and it's Josh King. As quick as a flash tackle over the top of the ball.
What a wonderful tackle that was by Tom Brown.
It was, wasn't it? As Mikey Gray was in full fright in that man there. I just mentioned him as a possible candidate for player of the match. He's been outstanding, Josh King. That's a really important penalty.
8 seconds, Chris, against that backdrop. You'd want it to go on. There's been a lot of good defending around the Wallace Monument over the years. But tonight, Boroughmuir Bears have come from the capital city and given us a masterclass. There's still an edge beside us here. They don't know whether they're standing or sitting, the coaching team.
I think they would certainly rather that penalty touch went a little bit further. I think Ali Mercer, maybe, I don't know if he thought that time was up, but
I think he stopped the clock with 9 seconds left because they were running it down.
Time back on.
So this is massive. absolutely massive, this throw and what happens next. Well taken. The clock is red. Effectively, they've asked. The referee has called time. All he has to do is dispatch it. The game is over! It's a first victory in the Super 6 series for the Boroughmuir Bears, albeit by a single point, but they have come to Bridgehaugh and defended as if their lives and the title depended on it, never mind their first victory of the season. A bonus point to them, a try bonus to Stirling, who more than played their part in a magnificent game here at Bridgehaugh. A fair result at the end of the piece, Chris?
I think so. It's a result that's built on defence. The courageous, accurate, physical nature of the Boroughmuir Bears defence was a match winner, really. Not to add to that, 4 tries as well. It's a 5-point bonus point victory for Boroughmuir Bears. 4 tries for Stirling as well, so they pick up 2 points from the game, but a game that was won by defence, and it was Stirling couldn't quite continue that winning run. They're looking to win 3 in a row, but they come up just short at home. Well,
the castle hasn't quite fallen, but Boroughmuir Bears have taken the points with a magnificent win in a game which had everything, and fair play to the referee Ian Kenny. There wasn't a yellow card to be seen. The final score here at Bridgehaugh: Stirling County 25, Boroughmuir Bears 26.
Welcome back to Bridgehaugh. Huge night of rugby, which ended in a win, a victory for Boroughmuir Bears. I'm joined by Scott McGinley, their captain, and Corey Tate, who was the player of the match. Congratulations. Do you want to do the honours, Scott?
Yes. Well done, mate. Thanks.
Feels as if we should have a wee round of applause for you. Oh, well done. That was good.
I'll give him one.
Corey, tell us about that game. How are you feeling? What's your assessment of it?
Yeah, it was a very tough game. Yeah, Stirling County, credit to them, they stuck in right to the end, and I'm just really happy with how the boys finished. We really worked on our mauls this week because we felt that was kind of a weak point last week, and so I think that worked out really well for us this week. A couple of tries, and got a good field position from that, and we just worked really hard on our attack this week because we felt that was a weak point last week, and our defence was pretty good, and it just kind of all came together. But credit to Stirling County, they pushed us all the way. And we just stuck out to the end.
And from your perspective, those two tries actually very similar to the ones against Heriot's. Is that something that you've been working on?
I think it's just kind of a team thing. We really worked on our mauls because we felt that was going to be our strong point this year. We've got a pretty good pack, and our backs worked really well with us this week. And it just kind of all came together. So credit to everyone that was in our team involved.
Yeah, we can have a look at it. It's on our screen at the moment. And Scott, I mean, fair play to Corey, another really good performance for somebody so young as well.
Only 18. It's a big thing for someone to come into a team and do, but it's amazing to see. It's what the competition's about, and this week a lot of boys had to step up. We took a lot of injuries last week, so it's just nice to see. Just really proud of the boys. Really, it's all you can be. Credit to Stirling, they're a good outfit. Every team in the league is, but it's nice to get a win this week and start building from here for the rest of the season.
And just finally, what does that first victory mean to you as the captain and the team?
Yeah, it's massive.
And particularly going on for the rest of the sprint series.
Oh, it's huge. I think it means a lot to the boys. Getting 3 weeks, not quite getting it. I think we've earned it this week, especially with a few boys missing. It puts a lot of confidence into the team and into the boys, and I think everyone's looking forward to a wee break and then push on, see what we can do towards the second half.
Brilliant. Okay, thanks so much for your time, Scott, Corey. More analysis on the way after this short break.
Thanks, mate.
Welcome back to Bridgehaugh. The sun might have gone, but thankfully these two haven't. Chris and Lee are still with me. Chris, good to have you back. What was your assessment then of that 80 minutes? Because I tell you what, that was not what we were expecting.
It was, I really enjoyed it. I mean, we thought Stirling would be the stronger of the two sides before the game. We kind of both tipped them to come out and top at home, but the defensive effort from the Boroughmuir Bears just set the platform for the win. But the lead changed hand time and time again, both teams scoring 4 tries, so there's an attacking element to it. But for me, the physicality and the bravery of the Boroughmuir Bears defence was the story that laid the platform for the win.
And the resilience to come back as well. After Stirling went up, the crowd were getting behind them just to hang in there. In the last 10 minutes was pretty tight after Tom Brown scored, but they managed to and then turn over at the end. It was really important.
You say that, and it is so important for a team that hasn't won. You know, they haven't won so far this season, and to go behind when your scrum's up against it, and then to fight all that, go ahead again, and then have the composure with a young set of players on the field, because they made a lot of changes in that second half as well. The composure to have the young players on the field to see out the final few minutes was excellent. Graham Shield, the Boroughmuir Bears coach, will be really happy.
Yeah, and we're going to be getting his thoughts shortly. He'll be joining us in a couple of minutes' time right here. But I was just chatting to Corey Tate there, Chris, a player, you forget how young he is, but absolutely ruled the roost when it came to his tries today. And we were saying, actually, Lee, very similar to the ones he scored against Heriots.
Yeah. Just so physical as well. I mean, the 2 tries he scored were excellent, well taken. There was maturity in his tries as well, where in that driving maul, he's controlling the ball the whole time. He's making the decision when to break off, but his physicality defensively was outstanding as well. And when he carried possession, I mean, this seems like a long time ago.
I think
it does. I know.
He spins out on this one. Which just gets him over the line.
Yeah, so when he shears off this on his own, because you know they're crabbing sideways more than forwards, Boroughmuir Bears, so the pressure becomes on him to come out of that, the safety of the rest of the players when he gets so close to the line. Now, if you come off and don't make the line, the rest of your teammates aren't going to be too happy, but he manages to get there, and he's in control of that position all the time. A lot of work being done ahead of him as well, but he's in control, and for a young player, Lee, he's really composed.
Great composure, and you can see Boroughmuir are obviously using that as a weapon. We've seen it against Heriots. They tried on a couple of occasions, got over the line, and then there's 2 today, and they've been really clinical with that, obviously kicking their penalty to touch, get their driving maul going. And I think Alex Toulis must be doing a good job as forwards coach there, obviously coming from his professional background and applying a lot to the Boroughmuir line out.
Is that sometimes the beauty of this competition, this form of the game, Lee, is the fact that you've got so many younger players who are kind of playing with a bit of freedom, who are kind of playing with, you know, going out there and don't have a lot to have something to prove, but don't necessarily have the fear around them that a lot of the older players might potentially have.
Yeah, definitely, and it gives a platform for these guys to play. Otherwise, some of these guys are playing senior rugby for the first time. There was at least 3 teenagers out there tonight,
and Corey Tate's one of them.
Yeah, and he's man of the match. He scored 2 tries, so these guys are getting an opportunity to play at senior level, but they're performing at senior level as well, and they're getting to play week in, week out. So it's a great thing for the Super6 to get these young guys.
It's really important. It's a real vehicle for getting the best young players and older players playing, and it's that mix that's really important. But this sprint series is definitely geared towards getting young players game time, and it's not just the sake of giving young players game. They have to perform, and they're doing that. We saw it, you know, all through the first 2 weeks. It's important. I think the next week is a break week, so there's a down week before the fixtures resume the week after. And I think after having not played for so long, really, to have such an intense group of games 4 weeks back to back, you can start to see the players, young on old, picking up knocks and bumps. So that break week next week will set the platform for more action the week after.
Although, to be fair, we didn't see too much of that tonight because, as you said, Chris, it was to and froing most of that second half in particular. And Stirling came back, actually, James Powell, with this try for the home side. Yeah,
I mean, Stirling, the periods of the game where they were really dominant and they looked after possession really well. I thought they got frustrated at times because the Boroughmuir Bears defence was so good, but when they got the bit between the teeth, when they protected the ball, they had the power and the physicality to go forward every now and again. This was an important carry here from Grant, the number 8. They just go forward, got quicker ball, and the ball pops out the side, and Powell gets in right under the sticks. Is a really important try. Who worked hard in the second row as well, James Powell. But the carry here from Grant, number 8, who's another dynamic player as well, Lee, just set up the platform.
Yeah, and obviously that scrum pressure score as well. And I think on that frustration, I think it's easy to get frustrated when your first phase plays aren't working.
Yeah.
And Stirling tried a number of strikes tonight, and they just, you know, they were almost playing into the right space, and you can see they've thought about it, and that's the play they're going for. But for whatever reason, whether it was the Boroughmuir defence or just a bit of inaccuracy on Stirling's part, it just didn't work out.
And this one here from Benedict Grant, actually, by this time, Chris, you were thinking this is the opportunity for Stirling to go on and just win this match.
Yeah, because of there were so many scums in the game, there was so much dominance. That's one-sided. It really is. I'm still not sure. I'm still not sure if he got to the ball first, but it was given, and we don't have a TMO, so it's basically in the naked eye as quick as a flash. We can have another look here. It's a scrum. They've won the penalty anyway. They're playing on quite rightly, and I mean you're splitting hairs whether he's got that or not. But it was a reward for that.
He's not going to care either way, is he?
It's a reward for the dominant scrum, and you're right. At that point, having Boroughmuir having a series of losses up against it, certainly in the set piece, well, the scrum certainly. Going ahead again, you know, for the Stirling for the maybe third or fourth time in the game, you thought that maybe is that Boroughmuir Bears' resilience broken, but no. No, they came back. And
I tell you what, we spoke about him the last time you and I were doing this programme. Tom Brown, who was there, who, I tell you what, in terms of that ability to bring a calmness and bring experience to a game of rugby, that's exactly what he did tonight.
Oh, it's massive, and as we mentioned, so many younger players, but you got a guy like Tom, bags of experience, and he had some really just good assured touches tonight, and he got kind of just reward with his score. There was a couple of nice touches with Robbie McCallum in the build up to this play, had a good carry, and then just there with some good hands on the edge, and it's a speculative kick, but it's the bounce of a rugby ball, isn't it? It's the old story, and Tom's on there to pounce, and he deserved his try because like I said, he counter-attacked well, he defends really well, and that experience is massive for a young team like Boroughmuir.
Yeah, it was a horrible bounce, wasn't it? McLennan fought too sharp on the wing as well. Get the ball through, and Tom Brown just hunting it inside. We've spoken a lot, you know, in the last few minutes about young players, but there's an older player, a more experienced player, a Scottish internationalist, and Lee's right. The balance of having that composure in the team along with the youngsters is really important. I'm delighted to see Tom getting his score. Do you think that's the difference between, because there's been so much rotation, I spoke to both head coaches before this match about that, finding a settled team, but then having the ability to have someone in your team like Tom Brown who's just ready to well, he helps
play.
with that. He helps with that settled nature. He played last year. He'll know, like, I think coaches like experienced players who can almost coach in the field and relay that message in the field, and actually just at times not panic, especially if you fall behind. So Tom Brown gives you that, but he's also there on his performances as an individual as well. That can't be overlooked. Whether you're young or old, you have to be performing, and Tom does that. One or two. I mean, it was Tom. I think they made the crucial tackle at the end on Mikey Gray when he almost got away. So is it defensively sound as well?
Okay, let's take a look at the league table, shall we? Where this leaves things at the moment. It's been quite unbelievable actually for Watsonians Rugby. 13 points for them. Stirling County still sitting there on 12. Heriot's on 11. Ayrshire Bulls on 10. Boroughmuir Bears, first victory for them of course tonight. 6 points for them. And Southern Knights sitting on just that single point. And tomorrow's fixtures, if you haven't got enough rugby tonight, of course there's more opportunity for you to have a look tomorrow. Watsonians against Heriot's Rugby tomorrow in the fourth round. Southern Knights take on Ayrshire Bulls. That should be a cracker for you to enjoy as well. What's your take on this format, Chris? Do you like it?
I do like it. It's an opportunity to get players playing. The sprint series means you have to hit the ground running. You know, there's only, you play each other once really, and then you go into the knockout phases. So that was an opportunity miss for Stirling tonight after 2 good wins. They pick up 2 points, a losing bonus point and a bonus point for 4 tries. But it was an opportunity missed to jump to the top of the table. But I say Watsonians are looking strong, Heriot's are looking strong. So the games tomorrow should be entertaining as well.
Who would your money be on, Lee?
I think Heriot's have looked really strong. They've got a big pack, but their backlines also functioned really well. But then again, Watsonians have, you know, they
get
brought
off the fence. Come on.
They brought a few players back in last week that made a big difference to them. So I'm going to stick with Heriot's. I'll go with Heriot's. They've been strong, and they recruited well over the break, which I think's made a difference. They've brought in a few players that have really strengthened them in certain positions. So. It'll be a good one tomorrow, a top of the table clash.
Just really briefly then, Chris, last word to you. How much do you think this is going to tell us about the championship season starting in August, of course?
Well, probably more than I thought, to be honest. I mean, we keep talking about players picking up valuable experience. It's a short sprint series. There'll be a bigger attritional rate come the championship season later in August. But Ayrshire Bows, you can't forget about them as last year's champions. They'll be there about as well.
Brilliant. Listen, thank you so much, Chris, Lee. Great to speak to you. Great to see you again. Hope you enjoyed the programme tonight. We've got a week's break, of course, and we're back on the 20th of May. Have a good evening. See you soon. Bye-bye. Welcome back to our live coverage of Stirling County against Boroughmuir Bears in the FOSROC Super 6 Sprint Series. Kick-off not far away, so let's hand you over to our commentary team of Chris Paterson and Hugh MacLennan.
Thanks, Connie. And it's two teams with contrasting fortunes here at Bridgehaugh. Stirling just a handful of points away from a 100% record over the 3 games. Boroughmuir are one of 2 teams without a win over their 3 games. So a quick look at the teams tonight. Stirling have 5 changes. Ben Cairns has made these changes from last week's game down at Melrose. An all-new front row, George Brees, Angus Fraser and schoolboy Callum Norrie. In the engine room, James Pow, Harris McLeod, and a back 3, the same as last week. Harry Russell and Ewan Cunningham will spin the passes between 9 and 10. On the left wing, Ben Salmon comes in for Walter Fafita. Ross McKnight, first try scorer, is on the right wing. And Innes, who got the 4th try and the bonus point try last week, joins up with Marcus Holden, the captain, in midfield. And star man Logan Trotter, 2 man of the match awards in a row. Boroughmuir, well, they are more juggling than rotating.